Hi everyone, good evening. Okay, Mangala Gowri. I'm a first year PhD student at the University of Pretoria, and I'm doing my research under the guidance of Dr. Els Vermeulen and Dr. Fanny Shabangu. So today I'm going to talk about my part of my PhD project, which is the temporal evolution of characteristics of the Antarctic blue whale corals off the west coast of South Africa. Welcome to my presentation. Okay, so my study is on the acoustics of blue whales, which are often known as the blue whales. Acoustics of the Balena promusculus, which are often known as the blue whales. So blue whale is one of the most magnificent and graceful beings on Earth. Personally, I love blue whales a lot. So to talk about the distribution of blue whales, they are distributed throughout the world oceans. They can be found all over the oceanic regions except the Arctic region and some regional seas. And there are 4 different subspecies of blue whales. Each subspecies has subpopulation as they differ geographically and acoustically, except the Antarctic blue whales. So this study focuses on the subspecies in the South Atlantic Ocean, which is the Balena musculus intermedia. So the true blue whales, they are the largest of the blue whale subspecies, and of course the largest animal on the planet. And to talk about the distribution, as we have seen in the previous slides, I have to go back. Yep. Here we can see the distributions, they found on the south of the Antarctic convergence, especially on the ice shelf edge, during the summer months, and they migrate north towards their mid and low latitudes during the winter months. And okay, the localization of blue whale. Sorry, I just clicked it earlier. Okay, so from the previous speakers, we have heard so many talks, so many sound types from variety of species, like the elephants, roars, rumble, trumpet, and the manatees squeal, and the birds who call, doo-doo. There are a lot. I'm sorry if I missed yours. So there are a lot. I enjoyed really a lot. So with my species, they produce the sound as song. Yeah, actually they sing a song. So the species-specific song produced by Antarctic blue whale is defined as the Z call. And to talk about the structure of the song, it is repeated, stereotyped, and low frequency. And it consists of 3 units. So here comes the spectrogram, as already Ivana showed you the Z call. So the Unit A, Unit B, and Unit C. So the first unit is a tonal at 27 Hz. That lasts for a distinct long duration, 8 to 12 seconds. And it is followed by a downsweep, the second unit from 27 Hz to 19 Hz, which lasts for a relatively short duration, 2 to 5 seconds. And then finally, the third unit is low frequency tone from 20 Hz and between 20 Hz and 18 Hz. That lasts for 8 to 12 seconds. And not all the times we can able to get the 3 units of the Antarctic blue whale call. Often they produce the Unit A alone. So why we need to study whales, like blue whales? Because it is crucial to study blue whales, especially the Antarctic blue whales, due to their low population status. So this graphical representation shows the hunting of blue whales in the 19th century with the decreasing of their population size. So the intense whaling has caused a great impact on the Antarctic blue whale population. Here we can see they are still less than 1% of their population size. So as a result, they have listed in the IUCN Red List of threatened species as critically endangered. Oh. Okay. So Apart from the population status, why we need to study the acoustics? So what is the importance of studying their acoustics? It is because we all know that the home of the whale, where they live, like as whales live in the dark, deep blue oceans, communication is very important for them. Like communication within the conspecifics is inevitable. Like for the purposes like social interaction, foraging, navigation, etc. And also in the conservation perspectives. So as localization of a whale can provide important information like their migratory patterns, behavior, and ecology, it is very important to understand the core characteristics of the whales. Like, because any changes in their core patterns maybe as a result of exposed to several factors like maybe environmental or anthropogenic, it might reflect in their overall well-being. Definitely it would reflect in their overall well-being. So it is very important to study their acoustics, and it is very important to understand them. So my study area is South African West Coast. So this region is distinguished by the Mangala Current, which is responsible for the upwelling regime. So this Mangala ecosystem is a low-latitude region, and this ecosystem is crucial for Antarctic blue whales, as this region is their overwintering or breeding ground. And this is also a former blue whale whaling ground. And so for this study, the acoustic data were collected from 2014 to 2017 by Mammal Research Institute Whale Unit and Department of Forestry, Fisheries, and Environment. So the methodology for data collection. So this picture shows the oceanographic mooring used to collect the data. Okay, so the autonomous acoustic recorder AAR or M2 instrument used to collect the passive acoustic data. And to highlight the specifications, like it can be moved at various depths, and it can be deployed for an extended period of time. And as it is equipped with high sensitivity hydrophone, we get the high quality acoustic data. So the methodology for the data analysis, data retrieval, spectrogram analysis, and finally the statistical analysis. So after the deployment period, the oral M2 instrument is retried, using the recorded data was downloaded using the software, InfoWave software, and the software helps to analyze, to get the acoustic data. And once we get the acoustic data, I was audited manually using the inspection of the spectrograms, using the Raven Pro 1.6, and then for the spectrogram analysis, the frequency analysis and temporal analysis. To describe the characteristics of the call, I measured the beginning and ending frequencies, peak frequencies, duration, time, SNR, etc. And then with the statistical analysis, the software are used to get the statistical analysis of the data and for the visualization of the data. So finally, the results and discussion, but I don't know. So this slide, we can see the presence and peaks. So in the AAR2 and the AAR4 site, the presence of the calls was seasonal, and from the AAR3, the site, we found a year-round presence, and the peak was observed majorly during the winter months. From AAR2, it's in June and July, and in AAR3, it's at March, April, May, June, and in AAR4, it's May and June. Here, I would like to highlight my supervisor work, Dr. Fani Shabungu and Led Shelaha, who worked together in this region, the same acoustic data. They have analyzed the occurrence of the blue whale calls in relation to the environmental conditions, how the environmental conditions affect the calls. So here I would like to say that because of the favorable conditions in the AAR3 site, which is in the 2016, there were more calls detected. Okay. So call duration distribution. So the maximum number of I've analyzed for all the calls, even picked up the fainter calls, but filtered it for the good quality calls. So in the AAR2 got the maximum number of good quality calls, and in AAR3 and 4, the quality is not as much as expected. So minimum number of good quality calls. Sorry. So the reason behind this is, even though we have a lot of calls in the AAR3 than the AAR2 side, the reason behind the good quality calls decrease is that the detection range is longer than the detection range for the AAR2. So in the AAR2, we got the shorter detection range, so we get the good quality calls, as we have already seen that distance matters. So with the call peak distribution. So in the AAR2, the maximum range for the peak, it's up to 26 Hz, and in AAR3 and 4, it extends up to 27 Hz. So here I would like to highlight again, thank you for my supervisor. So he have done all the work in this. I'm just comparing everything with his work. So he found the underwater noise influence on the calls. So exactly it is compared. So when comparing with that, it's clear that the ambient noise plays a major role. So it disturbs the whale calls. So as the ambient noise level increases, it increases its vocalization rate. So here and in the afternoon, the beginning session, we have had a great talk from our behavioral ecologist, Peter. As I have mentioned, the anthropogenic noise impacts, how it impacts the calls, and especially the whale calls. So here the same thing happened with these findings. Like my supervisor found that the vessel traffic has influenced the calls very much. So as they were coincided with a low frequency band, so when the ship traffic is more and the ship noise is more, the vocalization rate is increased. So because of that, in the AAR3 and AN4, we have the maximum range as 27 Hz. So this slide shows the peak average per AAR. So on the AAR2 side, I'm sorry, there is a slight difference, but I mentioned it as constant because there's no much difference. And it's a short duration. It's not for a long duration, maybe like 5 months. I have a data for a full year, but the presence of the blue whales is seasonal. So I have a short time of data for that. And then with the AAR3 and 4, there is an increase in the peak frequencies and then dropped again to the exact like average level of the peak frequency. So the Z call peak per year. So here we can see that into 2014 and 2015 and 2015 to 2016, there is no interannual decrease or interannual variations. Like it's more or less, it's constant throughout the time. And also this short time observation, like we need continuous data as we can see here. So this study have done by Gerula et al. 2012 and Leroy et al. 2018. Like they have seen an interannual decline in the peak frequency of Antarctic blue whale calls. Really, I was expecting that, like this, but I couldn't get that. And as I said, there are so many reasons behind this. One possible reason I found that is the ambient noise level increase. So they have observed an interannual decreasing trend, and we can see the similarity here. So it's around 25.7 in 2015. They have observed the peak frequency as 25.7, and with mine too, I've got the similar, like around 25.7. So the peak frequency of the Antarctic blue whale calls. So I'll conclude my talk now. So I have found no interannual decreasing trend from 2014 to 2017 data, and the possibility for that is from 2015 to 2016, there is the high ambient noise level, the vessel traffic, and it might be also because of geographical variation, as Gavrilo et al. And Lira et al. Found the interannual decreasing trend in the southern Indian Ocean, and the site used is South African West Coast, the South Atlantic Ocean. So this study will help to know better about the blue whales in the South African coast, the South Atlantic Ocean. And more study focused on the surrounding soundscape, help to understand factors that drives the evolution in the vocalization of blue whales, and also detailed research on, once we have identified the possible factors, detailed research on the possible factors will help to understand their ecology better, and that could be beneficial for their conservation. And so we're gonna get the data next month. It is in the same site, so I'm expecting so much from that. So it's like nearly a decade difference. So hopefully I'll be presenting next time about that. So I would like to acknowledge the contributors for this research. And I would like to thank my supervisors for their support and guidance and motivation. And I would like to thank everyone. Thank you so much. And special thanks to ABC team.
Thank you so much for your talk. Unfortunately, we don't have any time for questions, but if you want to ask a question during the break or on Hoover, you're more than welcome to.